Hi, Adam Robert Young here, and I thought today, as part of my Exploring Brisbane series, it'd be a great idea to put city cycles and Lime scooters head to head to see which one is the better way to get around the CBD of Brisbane, particularly if you're visiting. City cycles are funded by Brisbane City Council and have been around since 2010. Lime scooters, on the other hand, are new to the scene, only arriving in Brisbane at the end of 2018. So I decided to hit the streets and find out for myself. I thought, hey, they're both convenient. They'll both be fun. It'll be easy. But what ended up happening was probably the worst video I've ever made. Anyway, check it out. On the first day, I decided to try the city cycles. Now, in Queensland, the laws are actually a little more laid back than they are in other states. So you can ride cycles and mobility devices on the footpath, which makes them quite convenient. However, the law also states that you must wear a helmet. And the first problem that I came across when I was trying to use the city cycles was that very few actually have helmets with them. And I really didn't want to risk a $130 fine for riding without a helmet. Thankfully, at the bike stand that I tried, there were a few bikes that had helmets with them. Taking out a bike is actually pretty simple. As a local, you can use a Go card, but most tourists would probably apply for a 24-hour temporary pass, which costs $2, and you have unlimited use of the bikes for that 24-hour period, and you don't pay extra as long as you dock the bike at a station every 30 minutes. If you go over the 30 minutes, then you do have to start paying a charge. Obtaining a temporary pass and releasing a bike is actually pretty simple. You just put in the code that's on the pass, a PIN number that you select, and choose the bike number that you want to get out. Alright, so found one with the helmet, got the sexy helmet, ready to go and try it out. Okay, so I've just dropped off my first city cycle at the drop-off point. Actually, I was planning on going a bit further, but I discovered 30 minutes actually goes really quickly. The other thing I discovered is how unfit I am. Going uphill on those bikes, it's not easy. So if you're looking for a workout, that's probably a good way to start. But it is quite inconvenient because that 30 minutes goes really quickly. And then you've got to actually find one of the drop-off points to drop the bike off at. So I actually went out of my way to come and make one of these because I was getting close to that 30-minute mark. So now that I've docked it, I'm actually going to pull it out once again to go to where I was actually trying to get in the first place. So here I am at stop 1, going from the city, along the river and around South Bank and back again, doing the full loop. And this is Wilson's Outlook. It's a really great spot to come for panoramic city views with the Story Bridge, the buildings, the river. Great for photographs, video, time-lapse, whatever. If you remember the time-lapse in my first Brisbane video, that was taken right here. Now, how easy was it to get here with the city cycle? Well, apart from the annoyance of always having to keep an eye on that 30-minute mark, it was pretty good. You just ride along the river, which is reasonably flat, and they've got elevators. Just here, there's elevators that you can take all the way up here to Wilson's Outlook. And then you can ride along the bike path here, back down along the riverside. So to go from the city to South Bank, you've got to cross the Story Bridge. Now, on a city cycle, that can be a bit of a challenge. I've come up and the path that leads up to the bridge is so steep that I just couldn't do it on the bike. I had to get off and walk it up the steep footpath. And now I've come to another challenge. Stairs. This is going to be extra fun. Well, I can tell you now, city cycles are definitely not light. All right, onto the Story Bridge. So I've just dropped my bike off at the southern end of the Story Bridge, and I found myself with a bit of a dilemma. There's 11 bikes here, and only one helmet. That's the one that I came with. So, do I leave the helmet here with the bike that I docked, go and grab a drink, and risk coming back with somebody having taken the bike with the helmet and not being able to actually have a bike to ride, having to walk back? Or do I take the helmet with me? I'm wondering if this is one of the reasons why there's so many bikes without helmets. Maybe people are taking them with them as they stop off to grab a drink or have lunch or something like that. I mean, it's not 3 o'clock yet, so there's plenty of cafes still open. I don't know. What I have to do is I actually have to leave the helmet with the bike. I've got to do the right thing and just see how effective this whole city cycle thing is. If I come back and there's no bike with a helmet to ride, then I guess that just puts 1 point on the side of the Lime scooters. It's time to go back and see if I can find a bike with a helmet. Here we go. Woohoo! So here's where I actually forgot that I had my camera set to high-speed recording, which gives slow motion visuals, and it doesn't actually record sound either. It started raining before I even got to South Bank, and I kind of had enough for the day, so this is where I'm actually throwing in the towel. I'm giving up on city cycles, at least for the day. So here I am returning the bike at South Bank. I didn't do the full loop. As you would have seen, I gave up long ago. I'm going to return this helmet. So now, adding to the collection at this stand, there'll now be 2 helmets for the 14 bikes. And there you have my first ever city cycle experience. Now, a few things I should mention, however. Firstly, if you do go over the free 30-minute period, how much do you pay? It's $2 for the first 30 minutes beyond that initial 30 minutes, and then after that, $5 for each 30-minute period beyond there. So that whole trip that you saw would have probably cost me maybe about $12, $14 with a city cycle if I hadn't returned the cycle at all. Still definitely cheaper than a Lime scooter. Speaking of Limes, that's going to be the topic in my next video, so that by the end of that we can actually put them side by side and compare the two to see which one comes out on top. There's certainly inconveniences to each of them. We'll see what the inconveniences and the good parts of the Lime scooters are next video. So if you got something out of the video, hit like and be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribing yet, and I'll see you in the next one.